Welcome to Insight Wire News. In just the first month of President Trump's new administration, we are already seeing decisions that could spell disaster for America. These early moves are raising serious concerns, and the consequences may be far-reaching, both domestically and on the global stage. One of the most alarming developments has been the start of a trade war. If you've been following the news, you know that trade wars rarely benefit the average citizen. They may be politically driven, but in the end, it's everyday Americans who bear the brunt of the consequences. Right now, we are witnessing the first stages of a trade war that could significantly harm the American economy. The Trump administration's aggressive tariff policies have already begun to disrupt the trade relationships that the United States has spent decades cultivating, and when tariffs go up, prices go up. It's as simple as that. From higher prices at the grocery store to rising costs for goods and services, these policies threaten to hurt millions of families across the country. For some, it will mean tighter budgets, delayed purchases, and an even harder time making ends meet. This is where the real risk lies. The decisions made at the top may seem abstract or far removed from the daily lives of average citizens, but these tariffs and trade restrictions can make everything from food to energy more expensive. We can't afford to ignore how these policies will impact the way we live. And the damage isn't just short-term. Trade wars have long-lasting effects, and we're already starting to see signs of it. The impact of these policies could be felt even more acutely in the energy sector. As one example, Canada, historically one of the largest oil and gas suppliers to the United States, is pivoting away from the US and increasing exports to Japan. Why? Well, the unstable trade policies under President Trump are one major reason. The 25% tariffs imposed on Canadian steel and aluminum back in 2018 escalated tensions between the two countries, and in 2020, additional tariff threats made Canada reconsider its dependence on the US market. Japan stepped in as a stable alternative. No tariffs, long-term agreements, and shorter, cheaper shipping routes made Japan the ideal partner. This move by Canada could have dire consequences for the US. Not only will the US face a reduction in oil supply, but the prices of gasoline could rise sharply as a result. With fewer oil exports from Canada, US refineries will face shortages and higher costs, which will eventually translate into higher prices at the pump. But it doesn't stop there. This shift could also put a serious dent in the United States' growing electric vehicle industry. Did you know that producing electric vehicles requires a significant amount of electricity? Much of that energy has historically come from Canada's cheaper, stable energy supply. Now, with Canada diverting more of its resources to Japan, the cost of producing EVs in the US will rise. This could make electric vehicles more expensive for consumers, slowing the transition from gasoline-powered cars to cleaner, more sustainable vehicles. And this is a critical juncture. The US is trying to lead the world in the green energy transition, but with policies that disrupt supply chains and drive up costs, the country risks falling behind competitors in China and Europe. As if these issues weren't concerning enough, we now have another disturbing development. Elon Musk's company, Tesla, is embroiled in a new controversy regarding data privacy. Musk has employed a young team, including a 19-year-old, to access and review private data that affects every aspect of our lives. This isn't just a breach of trust, it's a clear violation of national security and personal privacy. These employees, who have no proper clearance or right to access this sensitive information, are now scrutinizing data that could have far-reaching consequences for all Americans. This is the kind of unchecked power that threatens to erode our privacy and security. How much of our personal data are we willing to allow others to access? This issue isn't about a single company, it's about the increasing trend of tech giants overstepping their bounds and violating the privacy of everyday people. This is not just a tech issue, it's a matter of national importance. We need to wake up, America. If we let this go unchecked, we will lose the very freedoms and protections that define us as a nation. Meanwhile, Canada is pushing back hard. In response to the tariffs, Canada has strengthened its trade ties with other countries, including the European Union, and signed new agreements with Asian nations. This is a direct challenge to the United States, particularly given how much trade between the US and Canada is worth annually. As Canada diversifies its trade partnerships, the US is left scrambling to maintain its position. This is about more than just oil and gas. It's about global trade dynamics and the balance of power. Europe, for example, is moving toward a more independent defense strategy as it grows increasingly wary of the US's erratic foreign policies. Canada and the European Union are now making strategic moves to strengthen their ties, especially in areas like renewable energy and access to crucial minerals such as lithium and cobalt. These minerals are essential for the electric vehicle market and the global transition to clean energy, but as China dominates the market, Canada and the EU are beginning to reduce their dependence on Chinese resources. They are building a new supply chain that could help to secure their energy futures, which leaves the US at risk of being left behind if we don't adjust our strategies soon. On the domestic front, the trade tensions are starting to spill over into agriculture. The agricultural sector is one of the hardest hit by these new tariffs. The US farming industry relies heavily on exports, particularly to Canada, but retaliatory tariffs are making US goods prohibitively expensive. Farmers, especially those in the dairy, meat, and grain industries, are facing significant financial strain. Many small family farms may be forced to sell out to larger corporate farms, which will fundamentally change the landscape of American agriculture. For many farmers, the emotional toll of this trade war is even more damaging. The pressure to make ends meet, combined with the financial uncertainty, has led to an increase in mental health struggles. This is a crisis within a crisis, a financial one compounded by the emotional stress of uncertain futures. So what does this all mean? It's a warning to the American people. The decisions being made now are shaping the future of this nation. If we don't wake up, if we don't push back against policies that benefit a few at the expense of the many, we risk losing everything that makes this country strong. We, the people, must rise to the challenge. We need to demand accountability, push for policies that protect American workers, and hold our leaders responsible. The future of this country is in our hands. It's time for us to wake up and act before it's too late. Thanks for joining us today. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to watch more and become part of our growing community by subscribing to Insight Wire News. We value your support and look forward to bringing you more updates. See you in the next video.